Most people over 60 are told the same thing about waking up stiff and tired. Just give your body time to warm up and take it easy in the mornings. It sounds sensible. It sounds safe. But here is what nobody tells you. Warming up slowly does not fix the reason your body locked up overnight in the first place. If you wake up feeling like the Tin Man before the oil can, the problem is not your age, and it is not just old joints. The problem is what happened in the 8 hours before you opened your eyes. Sleep clinics and physical therapy offices see this every single day. A person walks in convinced their stiffness means arthritis is winning, when in truth their evening habits are quietly setting the trap each night. Large observational studies of older adults have consistently found that morning stiffness and unrefreshing sleep travel together, and that both respond to the hours before bed far more than most people expect. In the next few minutes, I am going to give you 5 specific evening habits that change how you feel the moment your feet hit the floor. And I am going to give you the one insight that a rushed appointment almost never has time to explain. The number 1 item on this list is something almost nobody talks about, and it has nothing to do with your mattress. Stay with me until the end, because that one habit can change how you move for the next 10 years. Here is what happens in a 12-minute appointment. You mention that you wake up stiff and tired. The doctor nods, maybe checks your medication list, and tells you it is a normal part of getting older. There is no time to ask what you ate at 8 at night. There is no time to ask when you last drank water, how warm your bedroom is, or what your body was doing in the 90 minutes before you turned out the light. The visit ends, the real causes never come up, and you leave with the same stiff mornings you walked in with. It is not that the advice is wrong. It is that the system has no minutes to spare for prevention, and prevention is the entire game here. I am not here to sell you a supplement or scare you into a course. This channel exists to give you the science a 12-minute appointment never has time to cover. I am not going to hand you a miracle. I am going to hand you 5 levers you can pull tonight, in your own home, with things you already own. This matters because stiff, foggy mornings are not just uncomfortable. They are the moment you decide whether you feel steady enough to get down the stairs, and whether today is a day you go out or a day you stay in. Waking up well is not a luxury. It is how you protect your independence, one morning at a time. So let me ask you something. If you are over 60 and you wake up stiffer than you would like, tell me your age and where you are watching from in the comments. I read them, and they shape what I cover next. Now, before the 5 habits, you need the one mechanism underneath all of them, because once you see it, every habit will make sense. Overnight, your body slows everything down. Your circulation drops, your breathing softens, and fluid that normally gets pumped around during the day settles into your joints and tissues like still water in a canal at night. Think of your body as a small town with a canal running through it. During the day, boats move constantly, the water flows, and nothing sits still long enough to go stagnant. At night, the boats stop and the locks close. If the canal was already low or clogged with debris from the evening, by morning it is thick, sluggish, and hard to get moving again. That stuck feeling when you first stand up is your canal struggling to flow. Everything we do tonight is about keeping that water clean, high, and ready to move at dawn. Please do not skip this section. It is the key to everything that follows. Every habit on this list works by keeping your canal flowing through the night instead of letting it silt up. If this is already making sense to you, tap the like button so more seniors can find it. That one tap tells the algorithm to show this to someone else who wakes up stiff and blames their age. Number 5 is the temperature of your bedroom in the last hour before sleep. Most people keep the room too warm, and warmth is quietly wrecking the deep sleep that repairs your body. Here is the mechanism, and it is simpler than it sounds. To fall into deep, restoring sleep, your core temperature has to drop by about 1 to 2 degrees. Your body does this by sending warmth out through your hands and feet, like a radiator shedding heat into a cool room. If the room is too warm, that heat has nowhere to go, so your core stays high, and you never sink into the deep stage where joint recovery happens. You idle in shallow sleep all night, and the canal never gets its overnight cleaning. Sleep researchers have consistently found that a cooler sleeping environment supports deeper, less interrupted sleep in older adults. It is one of the most reliable findings in the field. So here is the protocol, with exact numbers. Set your bedroom between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit for the hour before bed and through the night. If you cannot control the thermostat, open a window for 15 minutes before you lie down, or run a fan on low aimed at the wall, not at you. About 90 minutes before bed, Take a warm 10-minute shower, because when you step out, your core drops fast, which is exactly the signal your body needs. The common mistake is cranking the heat, because stiff joints feel better warm in the moment. That short-term comfort costs you the deep sleep that actually loosens those joints by morning. Now the senior safe version. If you feel cold easily, do not chase a frigid room. Keep the air cool but warm your feet with bed socks, so your core can still cool while your toes stay comfortable. Stand on a bath mat, never wet tile, and use a grab bar or steady chair if stepping over a tub edge feels unsafe. Stop condition. If you feel dizzy stepping out of a warm shower, sit down at once and let it pass before you move. Pair this with darkness, because cool and dark work together. Lower the lights in the last hour and close the curtains fully. Darkness triggers the same drop your cool room is encouraging, and the two together sink you into deep sleep faster than either one alone. But temperature only sets the stage, and none of these habits reach their full power until the number one habit at the end ties them together. Even in a perfectly cool room, there is something you might be drinking in the evening that jolts you out of deep sleep hours later without you ever knowing. That is the next habit, and it catches almost everyone. Number 4 is what you drink after 4 in the afternoon, and the two hidden culprits are caffeine and alcohol. Here is the mechanism. Caffeine has a long half-life, which simply means it lingers. In an older body, it can stay active for 8 to 10 hours. So the afternoon coffee you think is worn off is still holding the door to deep sleep half shut at bedtime. Alcohol is sneakier. A glass of wine makes you drowsy at first, but as your body breaks it down hours later, it produces a stimulant effect that fractures the second half of your night. You fall asleep fine and wake at 3 wide awake, and the canal never finishes its cycle. Large clinical reviews have consistently shown that both caffeine and evening alcohol reduce the depth and continuity of sleep. And the research finds these effects grow stronger as we age, not weaker. Here is the protocol. Set a hard caffeine cutoff at 2 in the afternoon, and that includes coffee, black and green tea, most colas, and chocolate. For alcohol, stop at least 3 hours before bed, and cap it at 1 drink if you drink at all. Replace the evening cup with something warm and caffeine-free, like chamomile or rooibos, so you keep the comforting ritual without the chemical cost. The mistake people make is counting only coffee and forgetting that strong tea and dark chocolate carry a real caffeine load too. If you take any heart or blood pressure medication, talk to your doctor before changing anything about alcohol. Now the senior safe version. Do not swing from 6 cups to 0 overnight, because a sudden cutoff can give you a pounding headache. Step down over a week, dropping 1 cup every 2 days. Keep evening fluids gentle so you are not making constant trips to the bathroom, which brings its own fall risk in a dark hallway. Stop condition. If cutting caffeine leaves you with a headache that will not ease, slow the taper. Do not push through it. Pair this with that warm caffeine-free drink at the same time each night. Your body loves rhythm, and a consistent cue tells your brain the day is closing. And hold on to that word, rhythm, because the number one habit still coming is built entirely on it. Still, even with a cool room and the right drinks, a physical stiffness sets in if your body stays completely still all evening. Temperature and drink cannot touch it. The next habit undoes it in 5 minutes, and it is not exercise the way you are picturing it. Number 3 is 5 minutes of gentle movement in the last hour of your evening, and this is not a workout. Here is the mechanism. When you sit still all evening after dinner, the fluid in your joints, called synovial fluid, stops circulating. Synovial fluid is the oil in your hinges, and it only moves when your joints move. Sit motionless for 3 or 4 hours, and that oil pools and thickens. So when you finally stand for bed, and again when you rise in the morning, the hinge is dry and it grinds. A few minutes of easy movement pumps fresh fluid back through the joint, like working a rusty hinge back and forth with a drop of oil until it swings clean. Physical therapists consistently observe that gentle evening mobility reduces the morning stiffness their older patients report. It is one of the simplest things they teach. Here is the protocol, with exact numbers. Spend 5 minutes on 3 slow movements. First, 10 slow ankle circles in each direction, sitting down. Second, 10 gentle knee bends, standing behind a chair, sinking only a few inches and rising back up. Third, 10 shoulder rolls backward and 10 forward, easing the night's tension from your neck. Move slowly, breathe steadily, and never bounce or force a stretch. The mistake people make is treating this like exercise and pushing hard, when the whole point is gentle circulation, not effort. Now the senior safe version. Do everyone within arm's reach of a counter or sturdy chair so you always have something to hold. If standing knee bends feel unsteady, do them seated, simply straightening and bending each leg. If balance is a concern, keep one hand on the counter the entire time. Stop condition. A gentle stretch should feel like relief, never pain. Sharp pain means stop, not push through. Pair this with slow breathing, in through the nose for 4 counts and out for 6, because the long exhale calms your nervous system and tells your body it is safe to power down. But movement loosens the hinge, yet there is a chemical your body is supposed to release on its own each evening to prepare you for sleep, and modern life quietly blocks it. Restoring it is the next habit, and it costs nothing. Number 2 is protecting your body's own evening melatonin by controlling light, especially the light from screens. Here is the mechanism. As evening falls, your brain is supposed to release a hormone called melatonin, the body's own signal that it is time to wind down and repair. Melatonin is like the town lamplighter who walks the streets at dusk, dimming everything so the town can rest. But bright light, and especially the blue light from phones, tablets, and televisions, convinces your brain it is still midday, so the lamplighter never starts his rounds. Without that signal, your sleep comes late, stays shallow, and your overnight repair runs short, so you wake stiff and foggy even after a full night in bed. Research from sleep laboratories has consistently shown that bright, blue-enriched light in the evening suppresses melatonin and delays sleep. Here is the protocol. For the last 90 minutes before bed, dim the overhead lights and switch to a single warm lamp. Put the phone and tablet down, or if you must use them, turn on the warm night mode that shifts the screen away from blue. Keep the television across the room rather than a bright tablet 6 inches from your face, and turn the brightness down. If you read, choose a paper book or an e-reader with a warm front light. The mistake people make is scrolling in bed with the lights off, which is the single strongest way to convince your brain it is still noon. Now, the senior safe version. Do not plunge your home into darkness and risk a fall on the way to the bathroom. Use warm, low night lights along your path at ankle height so you can see clearly while keeping the room dim. If you use screens for company in the evening, just switch on the warm mode and lower the brightness rather than giving them up. Stop condition. Never navigate a dark hallway or stairs without enough light to see every step. Pair this with your cool bedroom from earlier, because dim, warm light and a cool, dark room are 2 halves of the same signal, and together they let the lamplighter finish his round. Everything so far, the cool room, the right drinks, the gentle movement, the dim light, prepares the ground. But the single most powerful habit ties them all together into a rhythm your body can trust, and it is the one almost nobody talks about. That is number 1, and it is next. Number 1, the habit that outranks all the others, is a consistent sleep and wake time, anchored by a simple fixed wind-down routine every single night. Here is why this crowns the list. Your body does not run on the clock you read on the wall. It runs on an internal clock, called your circadian rhythm, and that clock controls when your joints get their repair, when your melatonin rises, when your temperature drops, and when your body releases its natural morning anti-inflammatory surge that is supposed to melt stiffness away as you wake. Think of this internal clock as the station master of your whole body's railway. When the station master knows the trains always arrive and depart at the same time, everything runs on schedule. Repair happens on time, hormones release on time, and your morning stiffness clears before your feet touch the floor. But when your bedtime wanders by an hour or 2 every night, the station master never knows when the trains are coming. The schedule falls apart. Repair gets interrupted. The morning surge misfires, and you wake stiff, tired, and foggy no matter how many hours you spent in bed. This is why 2 people can sleep the same 8 hours and feel completely different. One kept the schedule and one did not. Large studies of older adults have consistently found that irregular sleep timing predicts worse sleep quality and more daytime fatigue, independent of how many total hours a person sleeps. The regularity itself matters, not just the amount. Here is the protocol, and this is the fullest one on the list. Pick a fixed bedtime and a fixed wake time, and hold both within a 30-minute window every day, including weekends. The wake time is the anchor that matters most, so set your alarm for the same time every morning, even if you slept poorly, because that is what resets the clock. Build a fixed 30-minute wind down that runs in the same order each night, so your body learns the sequence. For example, at 90 minutes before bed, your warm shower. At 60 minutes, lights dim and screens down. At 30 minutes, your 5 minutes of gentle movement and your warm caffeine-free drink. At 15 minutes, into your cool, dark bedroom. Same order, same times, every night. Within about 2 weeks, your body starts anticipating each step, and sleep arrives faster and deeper on its own. The mistake almost everyone makes is sleeping in late on a rough morning to catch up, which feels kind, but shatters the very schedule that would have fixed the problem. Do not chase lost sleep by moving your wake time. Hold the anchor. Now the senior safe version. If you are shifting from a chaotic schedule, do not force a huge jump. Move your bedtime and wake time earlier by 15 minutes every few days until you reach your target, so the change is gentle. If you wake in the night, do not check the clock, because watching the time only feeds anxiety. Keep a nightlight on your path to the bathroom and rise slowly, sitting on the edge of the bed for a count of 10 before you stand, so your blood pressure can catch up and you do not feel faint. Stop condition. If you consistently cannot sleep despite holding a steady schedule for 3 or 4 weeks, bring it to your doctor, because it can point to something treatable like sleep apnea, rather than a habit you can fix alone. Pair this anchored routine with everything else on this list, because the schedule is the frame, and the other 4 habits are the picture inside it. The cool room, the right drinks, the gentle movement, and the dim light all work far better when they happen at the same time every night, because then they become cues your station master can rely on. And here is the payoff I promised you at the very beginning. This is the habit almost nobody talks about, because it is not something you buy, and it is not dramatic. It is just rhythm. But rhythm is the one thing your aging body craves most, and it is the closest thing there is to a reset button for stiff, tired mornings. Give your body a schedule it can trust, and it will start doing the overnight repair it has been trying to do all along. That is how you change not just tomorrow morning, but how you move for the next 10 years. Consider a typical case documented in the sleep and rehabilitation literature. A 72-year-old man who woke every morning stiff, unrefreshed, and convinced his arthritis was simply getting worse with age. He was sleeping 7 hours a night, but his bedtime drifted between 9 and midnight. He kept his bedroom warm because the stiffness felt better in the heat, and he watched bright television in bed until he finally dropped off. His mornings began with a full hour of aching before he felt like himself, and he had started avoiding the stairs first thing, waiting until midday to go down. Nothing about his plan was dramatic. He set a fixed wake time of 7 every morning and a bedtime near 10:30, held within 30 minutes even on weekends. He cooled his bedroom to 66 degrees and swapped the bedroom television for a warm bedside lamp and a paper book. He moved his last coffee to lunchtime and added 5 minutes of gentle movement before bed, one hand on the dresser for balance. He changed nothing about his medication and added no supplements. He simply gave his body a rhythm it could count on. Within 3 weeks, his morning stiffness had eased noticeably, and the aching hour had shrunk to a few minutes. Within 6 weeks, he reported rising from bed without the long, painful warm-up he had lived with for years, and he was taking the stairs first thing again. His total sleep barely changed, still about 7 hours. What changed was the quality and the timing, and that alone was enough to hand him back his mornings and the confidence that came with them. So here is exactly what to do, and every step has a number. Tonight, set one alarm for the same wake time you will hold every day this week, weekends included. Tonight, turn your bedroom thermostat down to 66 degrees and lay out a warm lamp to replace any bright screen. This week, move your last caffeine to 2 in the afternoon and hold it there for all 7 days. This week, do your 5 minutes of gentle movement before bed every night, using a counter or chair for balance. And this week, build your 30-minute wind down in the same order each night, so that by day 14 your body runs it on its own. Think of someone in your life who wakes up stiff and tired and blames it entirely on their age. Send this to them today, because these 5 habits cost nothing, and they could change that person's mornings the same way they can change yours. Now tell me in the comments which of these 5 you are starting tonight. Your answers decide exactly what I cover next. And if you want more of the science, a rushed appointment never has time to explain. Subscribe to this channel, because that is the whole reason it exists. This video is education, not a diagnosis. Your own doctor knows your history, so bring this list to your next appointment. I'm Nathan Reeves. Don't forget to subscribe and live longer.